Church celebrates the commemoration of the fathers of the first 6 of the 7 Ecumenical Councils. It has been our experience that most people do begin to weep when the priest talks about the Ecumenical Councils. And this is, I suppose, a sort of universal struggle that we all have with theological subjects. When we think about especially the fathers of the early church as great theologians, as those who studied and struggled to understand God, I think that the words of Ecumenical the Solitary are very helpful. And I actually put this at the top of my dogmatic theology syllabus every year that I have taught it. It's the first thing that the students have to learn. Ecumenical says, those who pray truly are theologians, and those who are theologians pray truly. Especially in the early church, there was not a system of theological education, of seminaries where someone would be sent and trained and learn all the important things that need to be learned and then sent back to some parish somewhere. These things were done on a mouth-to-mouth basis. The bishop would teach, the future deacons and priests would learn, and then they would be ordained and they would serve the church. I think we make a very big mistake, brothers and sisters, when we think about theological education, when we do think about theological education, when we think about it as something that maybe some men might engage in so that we would have enough priests and deacons to serve the church, which is not a bad thing. Of course, we want to have enough clergy to be able to serve. But theological education is for everyone who is an Orthodox Christian. We have a great birthright that we have been given when we accept the Holy Faith. And that is the birthright of the Holy Fathers, of the Ecumenical Councils, the birthright of the true faith. When we think about these things, when we do think about these things, we often think about something else very quickly. Because for some reason, strangely enough, this is not so interesting to us. Bishop Peter says that each sort of local church has its very specific thing that it is best at. During the time of the Ecumenical Councils, you would have on the streets, between the vendors selling, food on the streets, you would have these great theological debates about who is right, is Arius really a true teacher of the church, or is he a heretic? And right there on the street, people who are illiterate, but have learned. But how have they learned? They didn't learn from the air that they breathed. They went to church. They went to the church, and they listened to what was being said. They listened to what was being read. And they listened to the sermon. Now, I know that you find it a great burden to listen to the sermon, and I can very much sympathize with you, but I am beholden to give a sermon on Sundays. But those sermons in those times were an hour, hour and a half, perhaps. And although I'm sure that everyone wishes that I would do that, I don't have the capacity to give such sermons. But great theological orations and debates took place in the church. Why? Because, brothers and sisters, we have been given a birthright. We have been given a great gift. And that is the gift of the Orthodox faith. It's not a great gift because it's Russian, or because it's Greek, or because it's any nationality. It's so much bigger and broader, wider, more important than that. The faith does not belong to any one people. It belongs to everyone. The Lord came to give us the true faith. Why? So that we can defeat the heretics in those theological orations? Of course not. So that we could be saved. Somehow, some of the words of the gospel we take to heart. The favorite nowadays is, do not judge lest ye be judged. That one gets thrown around all the time. Of course, completely out of context, but that's a different sermon. But other words somehow it doesn't seem to matter to us. Or the teaching of the church. We'll take a piece of it, but that other part that's convenient, or I have to memorize that, forget that. That's not that important. We would not read the creed, sing the creed at every single divine liturgy if it was not important. And if we are going to say, well, we seed our theological knowledge to those few young men that we can convince to go to seminary so that they will come back and teach us and we will not listen to them either, well, that really does not help anyone. Rather, brothers and sisters, especially when we celebrate the Holy Fathers of the Church, like we do today, the first 6 ecumenical councils, if you come to church regularly, you realize that this is not that unusual. This happens several times during the year when we are celebrating the Fathers of the ecumenical councils. Not because they created a beautiful faith for us, because they protected the faith which the Lord gave to us. You see, the ecumenical councils did not create any one thing. Not one. But they defined the faith against those who were fighting against it. We live in a place where we are completely surrounded by people who do not share our faith. That does not mean that therefore they are evil. Those two things do not go together. It's kind of like, well, I have a doubt, therefore I'm an unbeliever. Whoa, where did you go? Hold on for a second. Everybody has a doubt, every now and then. It doesn't mean you don't believe in God. It means you have a doubt. Let's not, like jump off the cliff. Just because people don't share our faith does not mean that they are evil. But if they don't share our faith, it's our responsibility, our solemn responsibility, to try to attract them to God so that they can be saved. We don't do this with great theological orations. We don't do this by taking a copy of the creed and posting it on their front door, hammering it on with the nails. We do it through our experience, and that is through what we have learned by becoming theologians as Orthodox Christians, by love, by being a good example of what a Christian is. Let's go back to Evagrius. Those who pray truly are theologians, and theologians are those who pray truly. Brothers and sisters, if we want to be theologians, true theologians, people who know God, and that's what it means, to speak about God, theology, to speak about God, people who know God, then we need to begin with ourselves, and we need to begin to pray. We don't need to love the concept of prayer. This is useless. We need to pray. Everyone can talk about how lovely prayer is in the abstract, but we need to do the work. We need to apply ourselves. We need to make an effort. And if we do that, the Lord will bless it. Let us not doubt. The Lord will bless it. So, brothers and sisters, on this day, when we celebrate the Holy Fathers of the first 6 councils, there were 7, by the way, and we were all wondering. When we celebrate these fathers, let's decide that we too are going to be theologians. That we are going to be able to provide theological orations by our example of Christian love, by our example of Christian morality, by our example of Christian life. And let's decide that we are going to be that kind of theologian that prays truly, that makes a sincere effort to establish a close relationship to God. And when that relationship has some difficulties, that we will not abandon it, but that we will redouble our efforts at this relationship. Think of a human relationship, brothers and sisters. We already have a 50% divorce rate in this country or more. Think how much more it would be if every time somebody didn't get the answer they wanted, that they just broke the relationship. What a big temptation this is for us. Oh God, give me this, give me. Oh, you didn't give me, forget it, I don't want to talk to you anymore. That's not a relationship. A relationship is when both sides work. We know God is working to help us to save our souls. We also need to work. So, brothers and sisters, let's decide today that when we hear the word theology, we are not going to begin thinking about our grocery list or what it is that we need to do when we get home, but that we are going to understand that knowledge of God is our birthright. This is our responsibility. This is our gift that the Lord has given to us. And the best way that we can begin to do this is by struggling to establish a relationship with God, by drawing closer to Him, by being changed, by being transformed, by becoming His sons and daughters. And if we do that, brothers and sisters, then we too will be those kind of theologians that Evagrios the Solitary speaks about. Those are the kind of theologians that attain the heavenly kingdom and bring many others with them. May the Lord grant this to all of us.